Welcome back to Next on Steam, the weekly series where we dig through upcoming releases to find the games that deserve a spot on your wish list before everyone else discovers them. This week, we've got a brand new adventure from Square Enix that's already turning heads, a stunning sci-fi Metroidvania that feels like a hidden gem waiting to explode, and a game that asks one very important question. What if you got to play as the final boss instead of fighting it? Whether you're into sprawling RPGs, exploring mysterious alien worlds, or just causing absolute chaos, I've got 3 games you should be keeping an eye on this June. Let's jump into it.
I'm
Run, Elliot!
dead.
Oh, come on! Keep wishing! You want to live, right?
There are still things I must do. Please, bring me back to life.
We're kicking things off with probably the biggest game in this week's lineup, and honestly, one that caught my attention the moment it was announced. The Adventures of Elliot, the Millennium Tales, is the latest action RPG from Square Enix and Claytek Works, the teams behind games like Octopath Traveler and Bravely Default. And this time, they're taking that gorgeous, high-definition 2D style into a full action adventure. The world itself already has some great hooks. Humanity has been pushed to the brink, surviving behind magical protection while the outside world is overrun by beasts. Elliot and his fairy companion Faye set out to uncover the mystery of the doorway of time, leading them across multiple eras as they unravel the history of their world. And if you've been watching this channel for a while, you probably know I have a soft spot for games that feel nostalgic without simply copying the past. Elliot feels like one of those projects. It has shades of classic Mana, old-school Zelda, and modern action RPGs all rolled together. But the developers have been clear that they're drawing inspiration from Square Enix's own history rather than chasing someone else's formula. Combat is real-time. You'll have multiple weapon types to experiment with, puzzles to solve, dungeons to explore, and enough RPG systems to keep build crafters busy. For me, this is for players who miss that era where adventure games encouraged you to wander off the beaten path just to see what was hidden over the next hill. The Adventures of Elliot, the Millennium Tales, is currently set to launch on Steam on June 18th.
Have I lost everything again?
You still have a chance to save us all.
Our next game might not have the budget of a Square Enix production, but it might end up stealing the show for a lot of players. Maseylia, Echoes of the Past, is being developed by Soul Brothers, and it's one of those games where you can tell the developers have a deep love for the Metroidvania genre. The world of Maseylia is this strange, techno-organic labyrinth where ancient technology and nature have become intertwined. Rather than pushing you down a linear path, the game wants you to get lost, discover shortcuts, and slowly master the world around you. As you unlock new movement abilities like grapples, air dashes, and advanced traversal techniques, areas that once looked impossible suddenly become accessible. That feeling of returning to an old location and realizing you can finally reach that mysterious platform is one of the best parts of the genre. What really caught my eye, though, is the movement. The developers have openly talked about inspirations like Metroid Prime, Hollow Knight, and Pseudo Regalia, with an emphasis on fluid traversal and sequence breaking. This feels like a game for explorers. If you're someone who checks every corner of the map, loves environmental storytelling, and doesn't mind piecing together the lore yourself, Miselia looks like it could be a hidden gem. The art direction deserves a mention too. The Mobius-inspired sci-fi landscapes give the entire game a unique identity that stands out in a crowded Steam marketplace. Maseylia, Echoes of the Past, launches on Steam on June 19th. All right, enough saving kingdoms. What if you were the problem? You Are the Monster, developed by solo creator Joshua Hughes, flips the usual action game formula on its head. You're not the hero defending the city. You're the giant creature leveling it. As you rampage through the map, you'll grow stronger, unlock new abilities, discover new monster forms, and eventually go toe-to-toe with police, military forces, tanks, jets, and anything else humanity can throw at you. Sometimes a game doesn't need 100 pages of lore to sell itself. Sometimes the fantasy is simply becoming the final boss that every other game asks you to defeat. I also like seeing smaller indie developers tackle ideas that larger studios usually ignore. Giant monster games are surprisingly rare these days, and this one looks like it's embracing pure arcade fun instead of trying to be overly complicated. If you grew up loving Godzilla movies, Rampage, or just enjoy causing a little virtual chaos after a long day, this one could be worth keeping an eye on. You Are the Monster is currently planned to release into Steam Early Access on June 18th. And that wraps up this week's episode of Next on Steam. Personally, I think all three of these games bring something different to the table. Elliot looks like it could be one of the biggest RPG launches of the month. Miselia has all the makings of an indie hidden gem, and honestly, sometimes you just want to be the giant monster destroying the city. But I'm more interested in what you think. If you could only pick one of these games to play on day one, which would it be? Are you joining Elliot's adventure, uncovering the mysteries of Maseylia, or becoming the monster itself? Let me know down in the comments, because I'm always looking for new games to feature here on the channel. If you enjoyed the video and want to help more people discover upcoming Steam games, consider leaving a like, subscribing, and sharing this episode with a friend who is always hunting for their next wishlist edition. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week for another look at what's coming next on Steam.